would you define violence against women?
I guess it breaks down into two categories that go hand in hand. There's clearly physical violence, which I think is there really doesn't need to be a definition for. And then there's emotional violence, I guess. Abuse. I think they go hand in hand.
What's emotional abuse?
I think it's when, without physical contact, someone tries to control someone else through words and intimidation, and makes a person feel like less of a person than they can or should be. The obvious examples are like insulting someone, but I mean, there are plenty of other things that probably build into that as well.
And so, how big of a problem do you think violence against women is?
In the grand scheme of things, it's really hard for me to judge, mainly because it's not something that I've really been a part of or have heard of in terms of people that I know. So it's obviously a problem just because there are people who aren't being able to live their lives the way they want to. But in terms of, in my, I guess, bubble, it's not something that I can say is not something that I can judge.
So where would you think that the problem is most prevalent?
Where, as in geographically?
Geographically or demographically?
I think it's hard to tell because what I imagine the cause of physical abuse in general is in a person's background, and they were conditioned to believe that violence is the answer. And I know that that isn't just something that's limited to a certain socioeconomic background or a geographic background. So, like, I guess my answer to that would be people who've had similar backgrounds themselves. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but I don't think it's something that because I don't know the stats, to be honest with you. And so what I would imagine is widespread beyond between the different economic levels, geographic areas, but they all have a commonality that they have been conditioned somehow, whether they've witnessed it or been a part of it, that it's okay to do something like that.
And so if you had to take a guess at what the statistics are, like say 1 out of how many women have experienced violence?
Just your opinion, what you think?
I'm just trying to say
So this
is just a guess, only because I know that it's a serious problem. I don't know the scale of it, but like it's not something that I've witnessed. So maybe it's a big problem around me, but it's just hidden away enough that I don't see it.
So any type of violence, emotional violence, physical violence, 1 in 30 women.
That's probably a good guess for me.
The actual statistic is 1 in 3 women.
Okay.
From an intimate partner.
Okay.
We have the statistics worldwide.
Okay. Yeah.
And last question, what role or what actions, I guess, can men or you or men in general take in addressing this issue of violence against women?
I think it's very important for men to take a role in this because when you have women who are the victims of this speaking out on their own behalf, it doesn't really connect, I don't think, with men because it's not something that we can relate to. So I think, I don't know, I don't really have any idea specifically, but in some way there has to be more of a male figure than a male voice because it's just something that we as guys can relate to. It's just, I don't know how to describe it, but I guess awkward is a word that I would use when, even though I believe that women shouldn't be abused and women that this is a problem, that hearing it from all women makes it just kind of awkward for me. So I think it's well, that was so So I think that men should have much more prominent voice in this issue, and I guess for me personally, it's hard for me to really imagine what I can do, mainly because it's not something that relates to me in the sense that I haven't had it happen to anyone near me, or I haven't seen it, but I think there need to be more people who were, I guess, closer to situations, men who were closer to the situation, telling about how it affected them personally, and then how it affected people that they knew.
So if you had your own daughter, like say you had a daughter, what would you want to change in the world, or what would you want for her in the world?
About what?
In attitudes, socially, and like from men individually, like what sort of things would you hope to see change in the time from now until she reaches, I guess, adulthood?
I think, like, a lot of countries, I would say, from a U.S. perspective, I think the U.S. is progressing a lot more in terms of getting women on a more socially equal level, and there are clearly a lot of countries that are behind in that. But I guess in the U.S., I don't know, honestly, it's something that's really hard for me to imagine. I guess that brings us back to what needs to be told to men. I think is needs to be a better way to relate a woman's perspective to men. Because I've been around. Growing up, I've just been around very strong women. Like, all my friends are very independent, and so I'm sure that they face obstacles that I don't, but it's something that I don't know about and I don't see. And unless those are related to me in a manner that I can understand as well as a manner that I can relate to, then it's hard for me to answer a question like that. And it's not that I don't believe it, but it's just hard for me to see what the problems really are. Because there are obvious, blatant problems, like a man beating a woman. That's a clear problem, but in terms of social equality, there are a lot more subtle problems that I don't think that I understand, and I don't think that I can see right now. So I think it needs to be related to men a lot more in a way that they will see these problems, and then that obviously will hopefully that'll translate into more of a general movement as opposed to just a women's movement.
All right, well, thank you for your time. That was great.